Open the fucking gate. The scream sliced through the warm morning air like a rusty blade through silk. But this time, it wasn't aimed at a gate. It came from the boss-blasting earbuds of Lena McAllister, 15, independent, and certified pain in the ass to any adult who tried to tell her what to do. She was halfway through a Megan Thee Stallion verse. Hoodie up, backpack slung, walking that same cracked stretch of sidewalk toward Oak Ridge High. Then the rumble. Lena felt it before she saw it. A low mechanical hum, like a panther's growl under chrome skin. She yanked one earbud free, just in time to see it. The SUV, white, gleaming, too white, too clean. No plates, no logo, no reason to be here. It slid up beside her like it knew her schedule better than she did. Tires kissed the curb so gently it sent a chill up her spine. A military-grade stop in a suburban zip code where people lost their minds over dog poop on sidewalks. The passenger door opened. Two men stepped out. They wore black tactical uniforms, loaded with fake authority patches that read BVHA Community Patrol, Brook Valley Homeowners Authority. Lena blinked. HOA had a patrol unit now. Bullshit. The tall one stepped forward, maybe 40-something, clearly compensating for something. Aviators, buzz cut, and a face like he practiced his stern expression in the mirror. Dale Granger. The other guy was pure slab, 6-foot-something, bald. Forearms like thighs, silent, dead-eyed, and clearly not hired for his people skills. Ronnie Haskins. Granger grinned like a man who'd just caught someone pissing on his lawn. Well, look what we have here, he said, slow and oily. That's hardly school attire. Young lady? Lena glanced down at her jeans and oversized t-shirt with the words, "Not your damn business" in Gothic font. She arched an eyebrow. Who the hell are you? Granger ignored her. You look suspicious, he said, stepping closer, loitering, possibly casing houses. There have been reports. I'm going to school, Lena shot back. Oh, I'm sure you are, he said, doing that lazy circle thing predators do when they think they're clever. But the BVHA has authority in this area. We have a duty to investigate potential threats to community order. She froze. Her father's voice echoed in her head. If it feels wrong, it is observe. Catalog. Stay calm. This felt wrong. And it was getting worse. Granger gestured to Haskins. Standard procedure. Let's bring her in for questioning. The hell you are. Lena took a step back, but Haskins was already moving. Fast! He grabbed her by the wrist, twisted it behind her back, and slapped a zip tie around it like he was gift-wrapping trauma. Let me go, she shouted, trying to kick, squirm, anything. Her backpack fell to the concrete. One earbud trailed out behind it like a torn piece of innocence. A scream formed in her throat, but it never came. The car door slammed shut, and with it, the world. The darkness inside smelled like cheap air freshener and bad intentions. She heard the lock click. The window tint swallowed the sun. The last thing she saw Mrs. Whitmore's lace curtains twitch, then freeze. 10:17 a.m., Ray McAllister's home office. The call came in while Ray was oiling a custom combat knife old habit. Kept his hands steady. Mr. McAllister? This is Mrs. Ellison from Oak Ridge High. Just calling to verify Lena's absence today, Ray stood up. Absence. She wasn't marked present for homeroom. Just making sure she's not. She left for school at 7:45. Silence. On both ends. Ray's voice was ice. When was roll call 8? He ended the call, already moving, already checking the tracker app on her phone. Last ping 7:58 a.m., near Sycamore and Elm, then dark. 8:31 a.m. intersection of Elm and Sycamore. Ray scanned the sidewalk like a battlefield. Grass too neat, sidewalk too quiet. And then he saw it. The backpack. Half on the grass, half on the curb. One strap twisted like it had been yanked. The zipper open. Her phone gone. Ray knelt. Not to mourn to hunt. Impressions in the grass. Wide tires, heavy load, SUV. Exactly where the GPS dropped. This wasn't chance. This was precision. Two workers' HOA types were trimming hedges nearby, clearly trying not to look. Ray stood, walked over calm, deadly. White SUV come through here. One hesitated. BVHA patrol? Granger's unit. Maybe you see a girl? They both looked down at their tools like they owed them loyalty. I didn't. I mean, she might have Ray didn't press. He had what he needed. Back in his truck, Ray tapped his contact list. Trey Vance, DHS liaison, off the books. Talk to me. Trey answered, half curious, half alert. Ray didn't waste syllables. They took Lena. Shit. They call themselves BVHA, fake patrol. I need addresses, vehicles, records, paper trails, anything tying them to HOA funding. You calling this an official? No. Not yet. I'm not trusting this to procedure. Ray, just get me what I need. He ended the call. Meanwhile, somewhere in Brook Valley Preserve, Lena sat on a folding chair inside a room that looked like a janitor's closet, remodeled by a psychopath. Peeling paint. One flickering bulb. Metal desk with gum stuck underneath. Ronnie stood guard like a gargoyle. Granger leaned back, feet on the desk. Let's try this again. Who sent you activist group? Journalists, undercover TikTokers, I'm 15. Lena deadpanned. I'm failing pre-calc. You're surveilling us. Don't lie. I've seen your kind. Lena's heart pounded, but her voice stayed cool. My kind. Granger leaned forward. Disruptors. You people come in. Document HOA weaknesses. Leak shit to the media. Undermine peaceful communities like ours. Lena laughed. Couldn't help it. You're insane. Granger's smile faded. You're lucky we're keeping this in-house. No one knows you're here. Unless you want alternative processing, you'd better start cooperating. He stood. I'll give you an hour to reconsider. He walked out. Cheap walkie-talkie crackling nonsense. Lena exhaled. Observe. Catalog. Stay calm. One door. No windows. Ronnie was heavy. Slow. His radio was loose on his belt. She tucked that info away. Every detail mattered. Because her dad was coming. And hell would follow him. Back at Ray's truck. Dusk falling. Trey's voice crackled over the encrypted call. You're not going to like this. BVHA isn't just rogue. HOA funds were funneled into a shell corp called Sentinel Harmony. Granger's name's on it. Ray's face was stone. This isn't a patrol. This is a militia. And they have my daughter. He looked at the fading sun. No sirens, no tape, no headlines, just shadows, and one man walking into them. They took her. Do not involve local PD. This stays dark until I say otherwise. Ray McAllister didn't bark orders. He didn't scream. Didn't panic. He issued commands the way a glacier moves, slow, crushing, unstoppable. He tossed his phone on the passenger seat, his eyes locked forward. Brook Valley Preserve lay ahead a manicured hellscape with flower beds, hedges, and secrets buried under HOA mulch. He adjusted the gear lever. His truck rolled forward, tires humming like a warning. He'd trained operators for desert warfare, jungle extractions, and urban black site rescues. He'd built men who could vanish into shadow, infiltrate compounds, and leave without a whisper. This suburban HOA territory with budget commandos. Child's play, 8:47 a.m. Brook Valley entrance. A security gate greeted him. Fake stone pillars, camera domes that weren't even connected. A keypad with a call resident button. A goddamn moat of passive-aggressive design. Ray pulled a pair of binoculars from his glove compartment. From the ridge. He scanned the compound. No official vehicles, no cruisers. But then, there it was. The white SUV, parked beside an aging maintenance shed tucked behind tennis courts, half hidden by brush and community beautification signs. The shed itself looked abandoned. Flaking paint, one door, a sagging fence around it like a tired lie. They're hiding in plain sight. He drove past the main entrance, parked 2 streets over. Grabbed his field bag. No guns. Not yet. Just recon gear, a compact drone. Notepad, knife, flashlight, gloves. He moved like a shadow into HOA territory. 9:23 a.m. Perimeter sweep. The maintenance building was a joke, a leftover from Brook Valley's pre-renovation phase. It wasn't on the new blueprints. Ray had pulled those up in under 3 minutes on the city's public planning site. No one official was supposed to be here, which made it the perfect hole for bastards like Dale Granger. From the tree line, he observed. One flickering sodium lamp above the door. A motionless security cam plastic. No lens. 2 figures inside, visible through a grimy side window. One eating from a takeout box, the other watching TV. Not alert, not trained. Just cocky men in costumes. Ray smirked. Fucking amateurs. He circled around the back fence. A section was loose at the bottom, peeled back just enough to crawl under. He ducked through, landing softly on mulch. Every step closer stripped away layers of suburbia, revealing the sick theater underneath. 9:58 a.m. HOA intel. Leak back in the truck, Ray answered Trey's encrypted call. You're going to want to sit down for this, Trey said. I'm already standing. Trey chuckled darkly. BVHA's not just rogue. They're funded. HOA board meetings signed off budgets for a community protection initiative. That money was rerouted through a shell corp Sentinel Harmony LLC. Who owns it? Guess who, Granger? Bingo. And it gets better. Sentinel Harmony is registered to a P.O. box at the Brook Valley Clubhouse. Meaning? The board knew. Ray's voice dropped. I want names. They're coming. Keep them coming. I don't want indictments. I want locations. 10:41 a.m. Confirmation Ray now had a probable location. Visuals on at least 3 individuals inside. 1 entrance. 1 exit. 0 professional security. But he still didn't know where Lena was. He deployed the drone, low and quiet. It hovered outside the broken side window, camera angle tilted just enough to peer through. Inside, Dale Granger on a burner phone. Pacing, Ronnie Haskins snoring in a chair. A folding chair in the corner. Empty. But their zip ties discarded on the floor. Muffled voices behind the inner door. A storage closet. No likely a makeshift holding room. He pulled the drone back. That was it. That was where they were keeping her. 11:18 a.m. Decision point. Ray sat on the tailgate of his truck, hands clasped. He taught others to run like silent missions in Somalia, Iran, South America. He knew what to do, but this was different. This was Lena. And that meant he couldn't wait. He called Trey. I'm going in tonight. Midnight. If I'm not out by 1:15, you send everyone. Trey hesitated. Ray, if you get caught, doesn't matter. You don't have jurisdiction. This whole op, I don't need jurisdiction, Ray said flatly. I need my daughter. Silence. Then I'll be your backup. Quiet, external surveillance only. Appreciate it. 12:01 p.m. Lena's cell. Inside. Lena counted seconds. Every time Ronnie shifted, she noted the sound. Every crackle from Granger's walkie-talkie. Every word that slipped under the door. Supervisor's not picking up. Might have to move her to off-site holding. She's non-compliant. Paranoid little bitch keeps staring like she's a camera. Alternative processing by this evening if she doesn't talk. Lena clenched her fists. The zip ties had left raw grooves, but her mind was clear. Observe. Stay calm. Be ready when they slip. And they would slip. Because she could hear it in their voices they thought they were safe. And safe people get lazy. 2:42 p.m. Ray returns. He came back with only what he needed. Compact pry bar, lockpicks, flashlight with red filter, paracord, zip ties, his father's old watch. Not tactical, just grounding. No guns. This wasn't about blood. This was about precision. He drove home, prepared a meal, and sat in silence. Just like he did before missions. At 6:00 p.m., he wrote a note and left it on the counter. Lena, I'm coming for you, and if I don't make it out, you make damn sure this story gets told. Love, Dad. Then he put on the black. 11:57 p.m., outside the fence. Ray crawled under the loosened chain link. It was cold now. Damp. Fog rising off the grass. Perfect cover. The patrol. Still the same guy, same flashlight, same lazy half circle. Dead routine. As soon as the man turned his back, Ray was on him. A quick, clean rear choke, no pain. Just sleep. He dragged him into the bushes, zip-tied his hands, removed his radio. One down. He approached the side door. Pry bar slipped in under the latch. Gentle pressure. A click. Unlocked. He entered the beast's belly. No noise. No hesitation. 12:04 a.m. inside the BVHA compound, which, if we're honest, was a shitty storage shed that smelled like mold. Old paint and incompetence. Ray McAllister was inside. Not just inside the building. Inside their perimeter. Inside their fantasy. Walking straight through the delusion these jokers had built out of duct tape and HOA board minutes. He was the ghost in their little dream. And ghosts don't knock. Room 1, the break room of dumbassery. A cheap microwave, styrofoam containers, open bag of off-brand cheese puffs. Two of Dale's officers sat watching reruns of Cops like it was a training video. Ray didn't waste a second. One move to stand. Too late. Ray crossed the room in 3 fluid steps, hand over mouth. Foot behind heel. Slammed the guy into the table. One twist of the wrist, elbow to the throat, lights out. Second one fat, slow. Tried to yell, got a tray to the jaw. Thud. Ray zip-tied them both, gagged with their own socks. He turned off the TV. You clowns are lucky you're breathing. He moved on. Corridor, no cameras, no plan. The hallway was dim, lined with lockers full of old paint cans, HOA flyers, and broken tools. A filing cabinet stood open, with half-baked violation reports and fake citations like grass exceeding height regulation. Suspicious teen walking with attitude. Unauthorized facial expression non-smiling. Ray smirked. Jesus fucking Christ. They built a dictatorship out of landscaping rules. He pocketed a few documents. Evidence, fuel, fire. At the end of the hall, a door with a crooked sign. Authorized personnel only. The interrogation room. He opened it slow, silent, controlled. And there was Ronnie Haskins, the human refrigerator, passed out in a chair like God had unplugged him. TV flickering in the corner. Sandwich on the desk. Zip ties on the table. Lena wasn't in the chair? Ray's eyes scanned fast. Corner, shadow, movement. Lena, curled, awake. Their eyes met. Her voice was a whisper, cracked but clear. Dad? Ray crossed the room in 2 steps. Knelt beside her. You okay? She nodded. Not hurt. Just pissed off. That was his girl. He sliced the zip ties with surgical speed. She winced but stood. Thorne's in the back room, she said. Was on the phone, talking about transferring me, no paper trail. Ray's face went steel. Stay behind me. Keep quiet. She nodded. Final door. The throne room of a pretend tyrant. The door was slightly ajar. Granger's voice leaked out. Smug as ever. No, she's still here. Yeah, we'll move her out by noon. I don't give a damn what the guidelines say. These little punks need to learn who's in charge. BVHA means business. Ray didn't knock. He kicked the door open. It slammed into the wall with a boom that shook Dale Granger out of his HOA fever dream. He turned. Saw Ray. Then saw Lena. Then saw everything he'd done crumble in one heartbeat. Who that doesn't matter? Ray said, low and lethal. You took my daughter. Granger reached for his radio. Ray knocked it away, caught his wrist, twisted. Pop. Granger screamed. Ray stepped in close, face like a loaded weapon. You built a fake empire on fear. You made rules so you could break them. You thought no one would call your bluff. He held up a pair of zip ties. The same ones you used on her. Snap. Granger hit the floor, wristbound, whimpering. Lena stepped forward, glared down. Still think I'm loitering. You glorified HOA rent-a-cop? Granger just moaned. Ray turned to her. We're leaving. The extraction. They moved through the building like wind, down the corridor, past the 2 unconscious guards, through the door, back into the night air. Ray led her through the fence gap, hand on her shoulder. She stumbled once. He caught her, held her tight. You're safe now. Lena? She looked up at him, eyes brimming but unbroken. I knew you'd come. He nodded. Always. 3:21 a.m. Debrief. They didn't go home. They went to a safe house Trey arranged. Neutral ground. Secure? There. Lena sat with a female field officer from DHS, giving her full statement names, times, threats, everything. Ray stood outside the room, watching through the glass. Not interfering, just guarding. Trey stepped beside him. You got lucky. Old man? No. Ray said. They got arrogant. 5:44 a.m. Incoming justice. Trey tapped his comm. They're greenlit. Warren approved. Federal task force en route. ETA 30 minutes. Ray smiled, not warm. Cold? Satisfied? They'll find 3 patrol morons tied up like Christmas gifts. Granger's in the back office. Zip-tied and whimpering. Evidence is all over the place. Trey nodded. And you? I was never there. 6:12 a.m. Final look. As the sky began to shift from black to charcoal gray, Ray sat in his truck outside the HOA gates, Lena sleeping in the back seat wrapped in a blanket. Across town. Sirens were silent but moving fast. Brook Valley Preserve was about to wake up to hell. Ray didn't smile. He didn't cheer. He just gripped the wheel. Phase 1's done. Now we burn it all down. You hear that at Granger? That's the sound of real badges coming for your fake-ass kingdom. 7:02 a.m. Brook Valley Preserve. Operation Sunbreak, as Trey sarcastically called it, went live with the subtlety of a thunderclap. 3 black SUVs rolled in through the back maintenance road. No sirens, just federal engine growl. The kind of sound that says, we don't knock, we seize. FBI. DHS. State troopers. No HOA clipboard could stop this. Ray wasn't there to see it. He stayed out, just like he said. But he could imagine it. Dale Granger's fake throne room kicked in. Ronnie snoring through the breach. And those two clown guards waking up zip-tied with socks stuffed in their mouths. Chef's kiss. Inside the shed, 7:08 a.m., Agent Morales, tactical lead, stood in the center of the break room, looking at the wreckage. This is what HOA patrol looks like now. One agent found the binder, labeled BVHA Enforcement Protocols, handwritten addendum, alternative processing outline, teens and disruptive elements. Morales read, raised an eyebrow. Jesus. These guys were playing Judge Judy with backyard bylaws. Another agent shouted from the office. Got hard drives? External? Not encrypted. Morales followed. The desk drawer was full of fake badges, blank violation slips, Polaroids of teenagers walking, sitting, existing. Then they opened the locked cabinet, and that's when shit got real. 7:23 a.m., the discovery inside the cabinet. Surveillance logs, handwritten reports, notes on residents non-compliant. Hippie lawn, too many dogs. But the kicker signed meeting minutes from the Brook Valley HOA board, dated 2 months ago. Motion passed allocate $12K monthly to Sentinel Harmony for Community Control Initiative. Commander D. Granger to oversee. Morales looked up. They knew. They all knew. 7:45 a.m. across town. Arrest teams rolled out. By 8:30 a.m., 3 HOA board members were cuffed in bathrobes, hauled off mid-toast and community Zumba. Their faces shock, denial, then fear. You can bully your neighbors for years. But when Uncle Sam shows up at your door, you shut the fuck up and get in the van. 9:01 a.m. Press gets wind. It started as a whisper. Then someone from the HOA's own Facebook group leaked it. Then the local paper. Then every damn news van within 60 miles was parked outside Brook Valley's signature stone gate by noon. Suburban vigilante force busted fake cops. Real Power Trip's HOA board behind illegal kidnapping scheme. By 2 p.m., BVHA was trending number 3 on Twitter. Below only Florida Man and alien moonrock scandal. 1:17 p.m., Trey calls Ray. Hey, you watching this shit? Ray was in his garage sharpening a blade. Old habits. Only clips. They get Thorne booked, bagged, and crying like a puppy. He asked for immunity. Ray snorted. Tell him to ask the HOA manual for that. Trey paused. By the way, Lena's statement. It broke the whole thing open. She's tired, but solid. Said to tell you thanks. For teaching her to see. Ray didn't respond. Just nodded like a boulder. 3:44 p.m. Fallout begins. HOA board dissolved. Sentinel Harmony LLC frozen. Brook Valley Preserve declared under city oversight until Reformation. Residents flooded the next emergency meeting. It was pure chaos. A grandma screaming about security theater. A dad demanding reparations. A woman waiving her HOA fine from 2022 for excessively orange pumpkins. A vote passed unanimously. Brook Valley is no more. Rename the community. Dismantle the HOA. And burn every fake badge in a bonfire behind the clubhouse. 5:18 p.m. New name Hollow Commons. It felt symbolic. Brook Valley had been about order, image, control. Hollow Commons. It was messy, honest, real. Lena walked the new signpost with her dad. Took a picture. Smiled. Still feels like a HOA name. Ray shrugged. Long as it ain't a prison, it can be called Peanut Butter City. She laughed. That sound? That was the win. 8:00 p.m. porch swing. Why'd they do it? Lena asked, curled next to him. People like Granger confuse power with purpose, Ray said. They build tiny kingdoms so they can be kings of nothing, but the others let them. Fear makes people stupid. Silence lets tyrants grow. But someone always stands up. You? Ray looked at her. Soft. Solid. No, you. She leaned in. You're such a softie when you're not snapping necks. Ray smirked. Don't ruin my reputation. Final scene legend grows. No medals, no speeches, but the whispers spread. The story of a man who trained warriors and walked into a fake empire to pull out his daughter. Of the HOA that fell because it forgot one rule. Never fuck with someone who's got nothing left to lose. In Hollow Commons, they still talk about that night. About the man in black. About the girl who watched. Waited. Fought. And about the empire built on fear that collapsed overnight. Your Honor, the defendants kidnapped a 15-year-old girl under the color of made-up authority. I don't care how many fake badges they wore that ain't law. That's lunacy. 8:47 a.m. Day 1 of trial. Ray McAllister sat in the back row of the courtroom. Arms crossed, wearing the same black jacket he'd worn the night he took down the fake patrol. Beside him, Lena? Posture straight, eyes sharp, a wolf pup-grown teeth, up front Dale Granger, in a cheap suit that fit like a lie. His smugness from earlier weeks had drained out, replaced by a permanent sheen of sweat. Next to him, Ronnie Haskins, neckless as ever, jaw twitching like his brain couldn't keep up with the courtroom's air conditioning. Their lawyers looked tired. Public defenders with folders full of what the hell were they thinking? 9:02 a.m. the charges. The clerk read the list like it was a grocery run for prison time. Felony kidnapping, impersonating law enforcement, conspiracy to commit unlawful detention, wire fraud, misuse of public funds, operating an unauthorized paramilitary group. Yes, that's real. Endangering a minor, tampering with community records, false imprisonment. The court reporter paused halfway through just to breathe. Ray didn't blink. Lena leaned over and whispered, "They're screwed." Ray just muttered, "Not yet. But they're halfway to hell." 10:15 a.m. Opening statements. Prosecutor Carla Redding was a damn storm in heels. Didn't waste time. Didn't smile. She walked up like she'd already won. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is not a case about confusion. It's a case about power, fake power. Stolen power. Used to hurt real people. They didn't stop at writing citations. They built a prison out of paranoia, zip ties, and HOA bylaws. And worst of all, they thought no one would stop them. She nodded to Lena. Until she did. Boom. Instant silence. The defense tried to counter. My client believed he was acting in the best interest of the community. He received verbal support from the HOA board judge. Did any of that include permission to abduct minors? Defense, no, Your Honor. 1:44 p.m. Lena takes the stand. No shaking. No tears. Just calm, razor-sharp clarity. They told me I fit a profile. They said it was standard procedure. One of them zip-tied me, shoved me in the back of their SUV, and drove me to a shed like it was a real precinct. Did you resist? I tried. But I was 15. He had a weapon. And what happened once you were inside, they locked me in a room, asked what group I was with, accused me of being some kind of activist spy. Were you no? I was just walking to school, listening to Megan Thee Stallion. The courtroom laughed briefly. The judge didn't stop them. How did you get out? Lena looked directly at Granger. My father came. 2:23 p.m. Ray testifies. They swore him in. He stepped up like he was back in a war room. Voice flat. Facts only. No fluff. I found her bag. Pulled traffic cam data, identified the suspect vehicle registered to Sentinel Harmony LLC, cross-referenced that with HOA funding reports, saw irregular disbursements approved without city oversight. I infiltrated the facility alone at 003 hours. The prosecutor raised an eyebrow. You infiltrated, correct. Why not call the police? Didn't trust them to move fast. And I don't leave family behind. Did you use force minimal, non-lethal, targeted, and the purpose of your entry extraction? Every word hit like a bulletproof punch. 3:40 p.m. The evidence drops. Then came the digital hammer. Hard drives full of HOA emails, including board members approving unofficial community corrections. Notes like, too many loitering teens lately Dale will handle. Security footage showing zip ties in use. Audio clips of Granger saying, we don't need the cops. We are the cops. One juror visibly winced. Another looked like she wanted to vomit. Day 2. Defense implodes. They tried to flip it. Granger's lawyer argued he believed he was deputized through community mandate. The prosecutor smiled. Do you have a legal document authorizing Mr. Granger to detain minors? No. A badge number? No. A single police officer backing his claim? No. So he had a patch, a walkie-talkie, and a delusion silence. Day 4. Verdict. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. When they came back, no one looked confused, and we find the defendants guilty on all counts. No gasp, no drama. Just cold. Clean justice. Granger slumped. Ronnie stared into space like he could muscle his way into another timeline. Sentencing 1 month later. Dale Granger, 40 years federal, Ronnie Haskins. 25 years. HOA board members, 12 to 20 years, plus civil restitution. The judge, an old woman with zero patience, and said it plainly. You used a gated community to build a prison? Now the gates are for you. Hollow Commons. 1 year later, the old HOA building is now a community library. The shed torn down, turned into a community garden. Every Halloween, someone dresses up as Commander Granger with fake citations and zip ties. They hand out violation candy to kids. No one forgets what happened. But they laugh now. On their terms. Lena graduates next year. Ray still sharpens blades in the garage. And every time he hears the phrase Homeowners Association, he smirks like a man who's seen behind the curtain and burned the whole damn thing down. They built an empire of rules. I burned it down with one. Don't touch my kid. 6 months later, Hollow Commons. The name stuck. The pain too. But the place. It was changing. No more HOA meetings that felt like interrogations. No more neighborhood patrols with badges from eBay. Just people. Regular folks. Planting, fixing, rebuilding. Kids walked to school without fear of getting profiled. Old folks tended gardens, not gossip. The shadow was gone, but the story remained. Lena Walker. Now she was different now. Still sharp, still sarcastic, but stronger. She didn't flinch at authority. Didn't bow to bullshit. And when she walked past the new community center, the one built on the ashes of the old HOA bunker, she smiled. They'd named it after her. The Lena Walker Civic Room, in honor of courage under false power. Ray didn't say much when they unveiled it. He just stood in the back, arms crossed, eyes hidden behind old Ray-Bans. Proud. Yeah, but quiet about it. Ray Walker. Always watching. He kept a low profile. Didn't attend meetings, didn't shake hands, but people noticed. When he walked past, kids straightened up. Adults nodded. Quiet respect. Like you'd nod to a war memorial. He wasn't the type to write op-eds or attend panels. He didn't want to lead the new neighborhood. But if someone suggested forming a new HOA, Ray would clear his throat once, and the room would go silent. Legacy? Sometimes it ain't about power. It's about presence. The others. Ronnie Haskins got beat up twice in federal prison before requesting solitary. Dale Granger tried to appeal. The judge doubled his sentence. The HOA board scattered like roaches. 2 fled the state. 1 opened a spiritual kombucha farm in Oregon. Still a control freak. Just with crystals now. And Sentinel Harmony LLC shut down. Assets seized. Its founder's name scrubbed from every city contract database in the state. You can't build fake authority without real consequences anymore. Not here. The community. Every year on the anniversary of the trial, Hollow Commons throws a block party. No speeches, no podiums, just grills, music, laughter, and one big rule. No goddamn violations allowed. They hang a plastic sign over the stage. This area is under the protection of common sense. And they invite Ray to sit front row. He always declines, but Lena. She goes, she dances, and every so often she tells the story. Final scene. The porch, late night. Fireflies a porch swing, creaking under quiet weight. Ray sits, a glass of bourbon in hand. Lena steps outside, barefoot, hoodie zipped halfway up. Still can't believe they named a building after me. You earned it. You'd rather it be named Strategic Extraction HQ, wouldn't you? Ray smirks. Long name. Shitty acronym. She sits beside him. Quiet for a while. Then, you think they'll ever try something like that again? Ray doesn't look over. He just sips, then says calm and cold. They can try. The legacy. The HOA's reign ended in fire and files. But what it left behind wasn't ashes. It was a warning, a lesson, and a name that meant don't test the quiet ones. Lena would go on to speak, to teach, to dismantle broken systems with wit and will. And Ray, he stayed in the shadows, the kind of man legends are built on, the kind you don't put on a plaque, because he doesn't need it. He already left his mark. Because when fake power builds walls, real ones know how to break them. Evil doesn't die, it just changes uniforms. And I've still got ammo. 10 months later. Somewhere in Arizona. Different neighborhood, same bullshit. Manicured lawns, copy-paste houses, spiky HOA flags fluttering like they meant something. Crescent Ridge, a community of values, stone sign out front, polished, pretentious. Below it, a smaller plaque governed by the Crescent Ridge HOA, safety through structure. Ray Walker leaned on a rust-colored rental sedan, arms crossed, watching. A white SUV crept down the cul-de-sac tinted windows. No plates, and a generic decal slapped on the side CRCP. Crescent Ridge Community Patrol. Not real cops, but they looked like they wanted to be. Walkie-talkies clipped to belt loops. Tactical pants. Boots too clean to be earned. Ray's jaw tightened. Here we go again. 3 weeks earlier. The email Lena was a freshman now out of state. College kid. Finally exhaling after a year that nearly broke her. Ray didn't hover, but she still checked in. Still had instincts. She sent him a 40-second clip. Subjects sound familiar. In the video, a 13-year-old black kid on a BMX was being stopped by 2 CRCP patrol guys outside a park. Where's your resident tag? Son, no ID on the bike means detainment. Detainment. They took his bike, made him sit on the curb, called his parents, said it was for safety. Ray didn't reply. He booked a flight to Arizona. Present-day observation mode. Ray didn't break things on day 1. He studied, noted patterns, routes, weak points. He knew how this song went, same tune. Different suburb. They had incident reports filed against anyone who didn't trim hedges to HOA code. They held mandatory compliance workshops. They had zip ties and CRCP. They patrolled like mall cops with delusions of grandeur. All this wrapped in the thin plastic sheen of community protection. Ray waited, but not for long. The knock one night, just past 9 p.m. Knock, knock, knock. Ray opened the door. A man in CRCP Blue's fake badge. Real smugness stood on the porch with a clipboard. Good evening, sir. You missed your HOA orientation. That's required for all new residents. Ray stared. Blank. Unmoving. You know I used to dismantle terror cells in Kandahar. Right? The guy blinked. Excuse me, Ray stepped closer. You're not excused. You're dismissed. He shut the door. Nothing else needed to be said. Escalation. 3 days later, they came back. 3 men, 1 van, more fake patches, more unearned authority. Ray stood in his driveway, sipping black coffee from a chipped steel mug. They tried to talk. He didn't. He walked to the trunk, popped it, pulled out a black duffel bag. Not a weapon. A go bag. Tactical gear. Flashlight. Gloves. Pry bar. He shut the trunk. Slow and loud. The patrolman backed off. One muttered, "He's not going to be a problem." Ray smiled. That was their first mistake. Voiceover. Ray's inner monologue. I thought burning down Brook Valley was enough. I thought if I killed the head, the body would rot. I was wrong. They don't die. They multiply. Different community. Same sickness. This time, I'm not here to warn them. I'm here to make an example. Final scene. The gate night, Crescent Ridge's stone sign loomed in moonlight. Ray walked toward it. Slow and deliberate. No sneaking, no mask, just presence. A guard stepped out of the booth. Sir, this is a private. Ray held up a photo. Lena. 15. Earbuds. The morning she was taken. His voice was low, but it carried. You built the same trap. Too bad I still have the blueprints. The gate opened. He walked through. No drama, no music. Just the sound of boots on pavement. Fade out. Epilogue. A year later. Crescent Ridge is gone. New name, new light commons. No more patrols, no more forced orientations. CRCP disbanded. Quietly. Without lawsuits or protests. Just gone. People whisper about a man in black. About an HOA board that stepped down overnight. About zip ties found burned in a fire pit behind the clubhouse. No one confirms anything. But everyone knows. Lena? Present day. She heard about it in a message thread. Didn't your dad move near there? Something happened. Whole HOA dissolved overnight. She smiled. Clicked on the link. Headline: Private security firm in suburban development. Withdraws amid sudden policy shift. She scrolled. No names mentioned. No photos. Just one comment under the article he warned them. She knew. Final lines. Ray sits on a new porch. New town. New air. Same instincts. He watches a couple kids play basketball across the street. Smiles, just a little. Voice in his head, not paranoia. Just readiness. If they rise again, I'll be here. Oh, they called it a neighborhood watch. But what they really built was a trap. And when that trap took the wrong daughter, the wrong father showed up. This isn't just about one HOA, one town, or one zip code. It's about power. The fake kind, the cowardly kind, and the kind that wears a badge it bought off Etsy. So if you're watching this and thinking, that could never happen here, ask yourself, who's really watching your neighborhood? If you've ever dealt with HOA bullshit, overreach, or just straight up insanity, this channel is for you. Drop a comment. What's the wildest HOA story you've seen? Tell us where you're watching from, because HOA Karens are everywhere. Subscribe to HOA Karen Files, where we expose the entitled, the unchecked, and the fake badge mafia one video at a time. Hit that bell so you don't miss the next real-life story that sounds too crazy to be true, but absolutely is. And remember, power unchecked gets wrecked.